working with digestive health, working with autoimmune diseases. And I love to talk to people about cleansing because I think it is really a valuable thing to do to support overall general health, to prevent disease, and to help treat a lot of, as a part of the treatment for a lot of chronic health conditions. Heidi, do you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, yes, I'm Heidi Ochsner. I'm the registered dietitian at the Tummy Temple. And cleansing is actually what brought me to becoming a registered dietitian, to being a client at the Tummy Temple, and then 18 years ago, starting working there. I've seen it change many people's lives, including myself, and it's so very important. And we're very excited to share this information with you. And if you have any questions during the class, you're welcome to unmute yourself and speak them aloud. In general, it'd be great to be muted. Otherwise, you can also ask questions in the chat box, and we will be answering those throughout the session.
And we are recording, so I believe it's just the presenters' faces that will pop up. But if if you don't want to be recorded, it's best to just use the chat box, and then no trace of you will be seen.
And thank you to Marlene's Market for having us, doing these
Yes, thank
wonderful
you so
classes.
much. We really appreciate Marlene's Market having this classes program. It's such a fantastic offering, and we really love to share, inexpensive, free, meaningful ways that people can improve their lives. And then, we offer services that are supportive. And so if that feels good to you, please avail yourself of those. But also, there will be a lot of information we'll talk about today that you can just take and run with. So, however you choose to use this, we love that. Okay, so
Let's get started.
get started. Okay, so some takeaways I want to make sure we focus on are that our bodies are really built to do detoxification. In the strictest scientific sense of the term, detoxification is a chemical process in the liver. So a lot of what we're talking about here would be called cleansing or depuration. And so that's, supporting your body with eliminating, processing and eliminating waste in a variety of ways. So, this would more be technically a cleanse talk, but we do support the liver with its work in detoxification, but it does that on its own. We can just help it along. I want to inspire people to look at cleansing as something you can do for yourself out of self-love, out of a desire for self-care, not any sort of, like punishment or I'm not good enough and I need to, or something's wrong with me. We're supporting our bodies and trying to help ourselves feel better so that we can live more enjoyable lives. Really, the most important thing is to reduce and limit exposure to toxins in day-to-day life. Unfortunately, we just live in a world where we are constantly exposed to a lot of toxins. And so we ideally want to get to a place where we're not retoxifying or taking on, new input of chemicals at a rate that's difficult to keep up with. So we'll actually be sending out a follow-up email after this talk. Sometimes it takes us a couple days to get it out to you, but that'll be coming soon. And that'll include a couple handouts that we talk about during the class, as well as just reiterating a few other things that we talk about. That'll be the only thing you receive from us unless you sign up for our mailing list. And then this is not about perfection. We are not able to avoid all exposures. That's just the nature of the situation. And so we're just talking about making small, manageable steps to reduce exposures to toxins. And then how can we incorporate small acts of cleansing into our daily lives? Just little changes can actually make a really big difference in our long-term health. And then a final takeaway point is I do think it's really beneficial for most people to choose some form of a bit of a deeper cleanse program, something that works for you. There's more than one option out there. We'll be talking about our favorite approach today, but something 1 to 4 times per year as a self-care practice, to really, as a part of preventing disease and as a part of helping to improve really most any chronic disease.
So we're gonna dive into starting with why cleanse. You know, a lot of people I hear say things to me like, why cleanse? Our bodies should be able to just clear it out. Isn't that how they're made? And I totally agree, that our bodies are made to clear out waste, but we are being exposed to toxins every day that weren't even invented 80 years ago. And our bodies make metabolic waste products in the normal course of the living day, of every day. You know, so it's more important than ever to make small acts of cleansing part of our everyday lives and consider adding more intensive cleanses a couple of times a year. Because when our grandparents were around, there were compared to now really not as many exposures by far. And, you know, really since post-World War II, there's this sudden influx of exposures all the time. And so our bodies haven't evolved to keep up with that. It takes a lot longer than 80 years for the evolutionary process to upregulate our detoxification abilities by the amount that our exposure has upregulated in the last, say, 80 years. So some sources of toxicity would be, for example, as we said, normal metabolism. Our bodies usually can cover that. Then things like unfiltered drinking and bathing water can actually be exposed to a lot of chlorine through bathing water, and inhaling steam from showers, as well as drinking. Cleaning supplies can actually be shockingly toxic. There are greener cleaning supplies out there, and then there's things you can make yourself. But cleaning supplies definitely can add to toxicity in our lives. Even everything we put on our skin care, makeup, soaps, deodorants, all of the stuff that we put on our bodies absorbs into our skin and goes into the little capillaries that are right below the skin. So if you're putting something onto your skin, I usually tell people you should be willing to eat it. And then air pollution, just breathing. We all know more about air pollution here in the Northwest in the last few years from the smoke, but there's also just regular old air pollution, candles, air fresheners. Also, that's an indoor form of air pollution that we are voluntarily exposing ourselves to, plugins, things of that nature. And then you have more exposures of toxicity for things like mold. Northwest also being super famous for its moldy quality. And then there's toxicity from food and water storage containers, especially things like plastics, microplastics you might have heard of are a big thing. And then foods can have pesticides, fungicides, herbicides on top of them, you know, exposure to that, or additives in foods. Even if foods aren't all digested well, that can create a little more toxicity. And then things like lack of movement and exercise can affect your lymphatic system's ability to move and ability to detoxify. If your breathing is disordered, if you're not getting enough breathing oxygen in, carbon dioxide out, if you're not breathing deeply enough, and if you're not expressing your feelings, that can also build up a form of toxicity. So we're not giving this list to freak you out. We're just giving it to give you an idea of the multiple venues and places where this can be coming in. And like we said, it's not about perfection. It's just having an understanding so that we can start moving forward.
Absolutely. So I do see a question. Someone asked, what do you think of smart meters? That is a big topic. I will say, you know, electromagnetic frequencies dissipate pretty quickly over distances, over a relatively short distance. So your average person is probably not gonna feel much or be negatively impacted as long as it's not on the outside of their house, right by the head of their bed. So if it's like over 3 feet away from where you sit or do anything in your house, most people will not be bothered by that. Some people will, though. You know, there's a pretty big variation in people's reactions. All right, so this is an old study, but just one demonstration of the type of exposures that people experience is demonstrated through a cord blood study that was conducted in 2004. Researchers through the Environmental Working Group looked at and found an average of 200 industrial chemicals and pollutants in the umbilical cord blood of 10 babies born in August and September of 2004 in US hospitals. So, you know, this is a long time ago. I imagine it's worse now. But these are babies who are brand new to the world and are taking on a body burden from whatever their mom has been exposed to. And so it's just, you know, it's a really unfortunate situation and definitely worth working to improve in whatever ways that we can. Again, you know, not trying to cause panic, but just to bring awareness. The goal is to be mindful of reducing exposure where we can, but not to become paranoid about living our lives.
So who can benefit from cleansing? I would say nearly everyone, with the exception of babies, young children, or pregnant or nursing mothers. In older children, you can adapt some of the approaches that we'll be discussing, but you would, of course, want to be extra gentle. So some signs and symptoms that can point to a need for cleansing include things like acne, eczema, skin sort of situations, allergies, asthma. Diabetes can actually be a sign. Headaches and migraines definitely can be a point to a need for cleansing. Autoimmune disorders of most kinds, digestive disturbances, even things like varicose veins or hemorrhoids. And then, of course, fatigue or brain fog is certainly a sign that cleansing could be helpful.
So I'm gonna begin the discussion of the organs of elimination. So I think this is a really important concept to understand because this is where people can differ in which body systems need the most support. So as we're going through these different systems, it's worth paying attention to or making note of which, if any, areas you might struggle with personally. And then when we come back around to talking about treatments and supportive therapies, you might be best served by choosing some of the therapies that support the system that for you is maybe a little bit compromised. So we have kind of main organs in our body, the primary organs of elimination. And these are the main ways that our bodies eliminate toxins. So these include the skin via sweating, the lungs via breathing, the kidneys via urination, and then the intestines via stool, and the emotions. So when any of these aren't working well, we're more prone to some of these conditions that Heidi listed, and symptoms like excess mucus in the stool, excess mucus production in the lungs, throat, nose, or sinuses, chronic urinary tract infections. You know, a one-off could happen for a variety of reasons, but if someone is really prone to them, chronic vaginal or other urogenital infections, acne, eczema, and other types of skin rashes. So it's sort of as if the body is not able to keep up with clearing out waste through the roots where it's meant to go out through, and therefore is starting to just sort of exude gunk out of other body systems. So not a fun experience. So and then if those organ systems are clogged, when those secondary organ systems get clogged, the body will begin to accumulate toxins in the skin, mucous membranes, muscles, joints, and then the vital organs like the heart, lungs, and brain. And that can really lead to more serious disease. So this is a process over years and years, but worth paying attention to the early warning signs. So an example of a well-intentioned but counterproductive treatment is using steroid cream for eczema. So this just suppresses the symptom, and it's an annoying symptom. I understand why this is recommended, and this is what, what people choose. Although a lot of times people aren't really given many other options. So this just suppresses the symptom. And the symptom is there, at least in part, because the body is not able to get those toxins out any other way. And so, this route of elimination is blocked as well, and those toxins just kind of sit there. So, it's for most people not going to cause any major problems to use a little bit of steroid cream once in a while, but a lot of times people are just using them, every day or multiple times a day, and that will just allow the underlying issue to continue building.
So let's dive into some of these organs of elimination specifically. The first one we're going to talk about is the digestive tract, which is going to break down food for absorption into the body. It's also going to help absorb water. So signs of having congestion in this, sort of like the large intestine organ of elimination, signs of congestion would be constipation, gas, bloating, burping, heartburn. So if your digestive tract is showing you some of these symptoms, then you want to take note. What could be clogging the digestive tract? What could be causing some of these problems? Not enough fiber, not enough water, or exercise. Processed foods and food additives can definitely add to the burden in the digestive tract. A huge one is imbalances in the gut bacteria or excess fungus or parasites taking over. All of these things can create excess waste that's toxic to you. If there's excess bad bacteria, fungus, parasites, they are actually producing waste products inside your body that you have to deal with. So this includes things like SIBO, small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, or Candida, which is a yeast overgrowth. Another factor that could increase the likelihood that your digestive tract gets congested or clogged would be not enough digestive juices. So things aren't breaking down well and moving through it. Everything just isn't working optimally. So how can you keep the digestive tract? How can you detoxify the digestive tract? Drinking plenty of water certainly is going to be helpful. Getting regular exercise to move things through. Eating plenty of fiber, mostly whole food forms. And Dr. has a great note on this.
Yeah, I just wanted to interject. So our ancestors who were hunter-gatherers, and also there are still hunter-gatherer tribes living in traditional lifestyle, are documented to get over 100 grams of fiber in their diet per day, whereas most Americans get an average of 12 to 18 grams of fiber per day. The Institute of Medicine recommends about 25 grams a day for women and 33 grams per men. But you can just see that there's this massive difference. And actually, there's even a study that was done by an English researcher who went to live with one of the hunter-gatherer tribes that's still living in a traditional manner in Africa, and ate their diet for a week or two, and did a stool test beforehand, during, and then I think twice afterward. And so, he was suddenly eating a ton of fiber through this traditional wild food, lots of plant matter diet. And he, just suddenly was having fantastic poops, 3 a day, after every meal. That's oftentimes what happens when you're getting a really good, healthy, balanced diet. And then his microbiome changed dramatically because it's totally dependent on what you're eating every day. And then it changed back when he went back to his old diet. So just kind of an interesting demonstration. I would say that the 25 grams a day for women, 33 grams a day is certainly an improvement on what your average American is already getting, but still probably not quite enough. That said, our food in this country has been cultivated and bred to have less fiber in it so that it's easier to chew and there's more room for naturally occurring sugars and things like that. So it's actively very hard to get anywhere close to 100 grams of fiber a day. And probably, if we just crammed ourselves full of lentils and ground flax seeds, it would be not enough variety and might, just overload us a little bit. But I think we should probably mostly be aiming for bare minimum 30 grams a day, in the range of 30 to 50 grams a day.
And, if you are having digestive symptoms, get help discovering the root cause. I mean, it could be lots of different things. It could be food intolerances. It could be dysbiosis, so an imbalance in the good bacteria, small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. It could be low stomach acid. There's a lot of different possibilities. But if you're having digestive symptoms, we highly suggest you get some help discovering the root cause of those and not just cover it up with over-the-counter solutions.
Yes.
One thing, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, yes, we have great test options that can really help tease apart what's going on.
And if your digestive system is really congested, a great way to help detoxify it is colon hydrotherapy, or otherwise known as colonics, which we certainly specialize at the Tummy Temple. It's like a warm bath for the colon. It's very gentle. Water goes in, water and waste comes back out. It's all very enclosed and well done. So in terms of cleansing, the best use of colonics is to address constipation so that your cleanse can be productive and as beneficial as possible. If you are really constipated, there's not a lot of a point in doing a cleanse until you get things moving. When you're doing a cleanse, you're trying to upregulate your body, dumping out a bunch of toxins. And if things just aren't moving through the digestive tract and you're not going to the bathroom, like skipping days, then you're just going to feel pretty terrible. Toxins will just recirculate and settle elsewhere in your body, and you'll just feel crummy. So in this case, coming in for a colonic before you start a cleanse is highly recommended. And some people very often would need a series of 3 to really get things moving. That's not untypical. As well, if you are backed up, constipated, wanting to cleanse, you can use supplementation to help things move. Things like Temple Calm, which is a magnesium citrate that helps draw water into the colon and help things move. Daiju is one of our most popular products. It's a bitter Chinese herbs that helps stimulate digestive juices and help things to move. You could also try good bacteria. We have a Temple Biotic and Immunospore, are 2 different probiotic formulas that can also help balancing gut bacteria.
The liver is the next organ of elimination that we're going to talk about, and one of the very most important. And the liver just does so many tasks for us. It does, really hundreds of tasks, from storing B vitamins to storing sugar to release between meals. It does a ton of things for us, and then it also does these very crucial chemical reactions to take toxins from their original state and make them more water soluble so that they can be eliminated from the body. So it's sort of an intermediate step. The liver does this processing, and then those toxins actually have to be taken out of the body through the sweat, urine, or stool. So it filters toxins out of the blood, processes them to make them easier to eliminate, along with countless other tasks. So things that clog the liver are alcohol, air pollution, water pollution, pharmaceuticals. Obviously, life-saving, some pharmaceuticals can be life-saving. I am not advocating for stopping all pharmaceuticals, but, it's just important to realize that they also are chemicals that your body will then need to process and eliminate. So they're, on the list of things that increase the work that the liver is going to have to do. Don't stop your meds without proper guidance from your healthcare practitioner. Food additives can be clogging to the liver, excess sugar or junk food, smoking, inadequate sleep. So in Chinese medicine, it's long been known that the most active time of the liver is during the night. So I recommend going to bed by 10 or 11 p.m. and getting at least 8 hours of sleep per night to best support proper liver function and health in general. And actually, there are some really interesting studies showing that a disrupted circadian rhythm, meaning that sort of sleep-wake cycle, can really affect the liver. So there's a study in mice that shows that the liver grows in size by 40% during waking and feeding hours, and then shrinks back down to baseline during sleep on a 24-hour cycle. And this pattern just stops happening if the sleeping and feeding times don't follow a regular, steady daily pattern. And small studies on humans have actually shown a similar pattern. So this really does correlate with our understanding that the liver operates best on a steady cycle of regular sleep times and regular meal times. Our bodies really are creatures of habit that like consistent patterns of activity, and we're built to follow the patterns of daylight and nighttime as the cues that guide this. So things like international travel, shift work, irregular meal times, and disrupted sleep really all can interfere. So ways that we can keep the liver detoxifying: reducing exposure to environmental chemicals, of course. I'm going to send out a handout that I made a couple years ago on the top 6 changes or swaps that you can make that really make a big impact in reducing exposure to chemicals. So keep an eye out for that one. It's a good list. Minimize alcohol intake, clean up the diet, meaning reduce or avoid processed foods, things that are really high in a lot of dyes and additives, and eat as organic as much as you can to reduce exposure to pesticides, herbicides, and just focus on whole foods as much as possible and getting a variety. Get at least 7 or 8 hours of uninterrupted sleep per night. If you are really struggling with this, I would recommend reaching out for help. Castor oil packs are a wonderful treatment to help the liver, as well as the lymphatic system. And we'll send out a handout on how to do those, but it's essentially applying castor oil over the belly and liver and leaving it in place for 30 minutes up to an hour, or even overnight, depending on how you do the treatment. And that stimulates circulation of the lymph in and around the liver and intestines. And the lymph is additionally one of the ways that our bodies sort of clean house, clean up waste products, and take them to the liver. Coffee enemas are a wonderful treatment. They can increase glutathione production in the liver. Glutathione is one of the main substances our bodies use to make toxins more water soluble so that they can be eliminated. These can be done at home, and we have kits that we offer at on our online store, as well as in our stores in clinic. And we have a YouTube video on how to do this as well. And then they can be added on during a colonic. And that's kind of a nice way to try it out as well without getting all the equipment quite yet. And then colonics are really great for the liver as well. So even if you're not constipated, additional toxins are carried out beyond what would be removed during a normal bowel movement alone during a colonic. So during a cleanse, your body is processing and eliminating additional toxins. So if those excess toxins are allowed to sit around, they will just get reabsorbed back into the body and make you feel sort of crummy. That's can be a relatively common side effect during a cleanse, is feeling really draggy, really tired, brain fog, body aches, headaches, that sort of thing. And, a little bit of that is normal and to be expected. But if it's significant, I look at that as a sign that the cleansing process is going too fast. Toxins are being kind of mobilized from wherever they were stored in the body faster than your body can actually process and get them out. And that's not a good thing. They'll just settle elsewhere. So modifying a cleanse to ease off, make it gentler so that you don't feel terrible is actually going to make it more effective as well. So colonics help to efficiently deal with that excess. For otherwise healthy people, we generally recommend a colonic once per quarter, so every 3 months for this purpose. During a cleanse, consider scheduling a colonic at the beginning, near the midpoint, and at the end if you're able to do a series of 3. But, if you can only do one, just right in the middle might be good. And then use herbs and therapies to cleanse a couple times a year. There are some foods and food-like herbs that you can add to your diet to support a healthy liver. So those include dandelion root, milk thistle seed, burdock root. A lot of health food stores carry burdock root, and it's a great one you can chop it up and make sort of like a Asian salad with it, or you can add it to soups or stews. Onions, garlic, mushrooms. Really, a lot of the things on this list are foods that contain sulfur, and we need sulfur to make glutathione. It's a very important ingredient for making that crucial detoxification nutrient. So getting that, sulfur-containing foods are very helpful. Lemon juice is wonderful for the liver, as are cruciferous vegetables like broccoli, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts, kale, and then turmeric and beets are also very helpful. We additionally will sometimes add in some supplements for liver support. And those include HEPA caps by Wise Woman Herbals. And these couple things are going to be listed in the link that Heidi will share, and will also share in the email of our products that are most applicable to this talk. So HEPA caps are just a mixture of some of those herbs. I believe it has dandelion and milk thistle in it, and a few other good liver herbs. Temple Detox Optimizer 2. It's kind of a mouthful, but that is sort of like a multivitamin for your liver. It's got some the nutrients and precursors that are needed to run those chemical reactions in the liver that do detoxification. So it just kind of ensures that you have enough of the nutrients that help those systems run. And then liposomal glutathione. So that's a well-absorbed or better absorbed form of glutathione that you can just add in some extra. Your body also makes glutathione, but it can be helpful to have more. And then we have some IVs that are a good way to get in nutrients, especially if digestion is compromised and it's hard to absorb nutrients. Getting them through an IV can be useful in those cases. And then we can add in glutathione that way as well. And glutathione is normally not that well absorbed taken orally. This is this powerful antioxidant and detox support nutrient. So getting it intravenously is really, really helpful. So I see someone asked, is something being shared on the screen? No, we're not sharing anything on the screen right now. I realized I don't think I have that list of vegetables in the follow-up email, but I can add it.
Share it into I can share it into the chat right now.
Oh, that'd be great. Yes, thank you,
I'll
Heidi.
put it in the chat. Just give me one sec.
And then Heidi also just shared our product collection. So just the few things we're talking about that I just listed. And, another final product that we find really helpful is complete body reset packs, and that is a package of 30 little packs of supplements, and each packet contains a combination of things, some fish oil, some enzymes, some bromelain, very anti-inflammatory compounds, and that liver multivitamin. So it's designed to, and oregano oil. So it's designed to support your liver with detoxification, reduce inflammation, and help balance the microbiome. So it's sort of like a triple threat there. And those are the products that we use in the guided cleanse that we offer, called the Revive Cleanse program. We'll touch on this a little bit more later. That's the program that we've put together because we just find it to be a really useful approach to cleansing.
Okay.
Great.
So I'm going to talk about the kidneys, which are another organ of detoxification. They're constantly filtering your blood and excreting toxins out through the urine. So kidneys, bladder, out with urine. So what can clog the kidneys would be certainly inadequate hydration. So not hydrated enough, dehydrated. Air pollution can also have an effect, water pollution, certainly. Pharmaceuticals, again, a lot of these, you're going to hear a lot of the same things again and again, right? It makes sense. Food additives, smoking, and if you have to use the bathroom, but you're holding your urine for too long, for example, this can be a really common problem for people who work in certain industries. If you're a bus driver, teachers, very often I hear this problem. So holding it is going to definitely make things more congested. So how to keep the kidneys, how to help support, excuse me, I see a question. What water filters do you recommend for our sink for drinking? I love Custom Pure. They are a wonderful company up in Shoreline, and I think we have them on that handout.
We do, yes. Yeah.
They are amazing. I've used them for years, small business. They really, they do great. They take out all the fluoride, all the chloride, they take it all out. And it's nice and clean, and it's really good. Tastes delicious too. It's
But
custom
that handout actually includes Custom
multiple.
Pure,
Yeah,
and then lists a couple other recommendations as well. So you will receive that.
definitely check that out. So how to support detoxifying the kidneys, staying hydrated, and making sure that in that hydration piece that you're adding trace minerals and electrolytes. So that's going to include things like potassium, magnesium, chloride, because it's not just about getting in the water, it's about the water going where it's supposed to go and doing what it's supposed to do, and that you don't feel like you're just peeing it all away. So urinating when you feel the urge is also very important. As we said, don't hold it. And reducing exposure to environmental chemicals by not smoking, by using a water filter, by using air filters, etc. I do see one other question too. I'm traveling to a different country and I've heard parasites are a problem. Would you recommend doing a cleanse when I come back? Oh, that's a great question. I'll give a quick answer and then I will lob this one over to Dr. Wood. I think parasites definitely are a real thing that can be an issue, even in first world countries where people think it's not an issue. But, let your dog lick you in the face and go eat some sushi, and you might just feel like you could use a parasite cleanse. So I think depending on where you're going and how you're traveling, doing a parasite cleanse is not a bad idea afterwards. Some people, it's very clear that they need them. Other times it's harder to tell.
I would just add that there are certain types of parasites, the worm types, to be exact, that are quite difficult to kill with herbs and very easy to kill with pharmaceuticals. It takes oftentimes one pill, although I usually give a couple backup ones just to be sure. So I generally recommend, especially if you're having any digestive symptoms or health issues after traveling, to just do a stool test, see if you catch anything. Stool tests are not infallible. You can miss things, but I think the herbal parasite cleanses can be incredibly helpful. I would do that as a follow-up after, if needed, working with your doctor to get the proper medication. And it really does depend on the parasite. So that's why I'm saying this. But yeah, it can cause a lot of health issues to leave that untreated long term. So yeah, stool testing would be great.
Two follow-up questions, Dr. Wood. One is, what parasite cleanses do you recommend? And the other is, would you do a stool test immediately after coming back?
Personally, I would. If I was, if I felt great and felt really confident about my food choices, maybe not. But if I had had some, digestive upset on the trip, yes, I would take a stool test when I got back. And then we do have an herbal formula. Oh, Heidi, remind me what it's called. The tincture.
Oh, traveler's tonic.
Traveler's tonic that actually is antimicrobial, antiparasitic, and it's a great thing to travel with. I think it's really effective for reducing the likelihood that you'll pick up anything, including a bacterial issue, and you just take it before every meal. So, and then you can bump up the dose at the first sign of any symptoms.
I'll put that in the chat. Traveler's tonic saved my Mexican honeymoon.
Yeah, so that is a good one. And yes, I would do a stool test. We have a couple options, but we have a functional stool test that would be, one of the ones that I would recommend for that. And then, we do have I think it's a 7-day parasite cleanse, and I think it's well designed. I just don't feel 100% confident that it would remove every type of parasite. So yeah, with that caveat. And Heidi, can you remind me what that one is called?
That's
I didn't.
Max.
Max. Yes, yes. It's a really good company. I just was blanking on the name. Okay, let's see. So the next organ of elimination is the lungs. They take in oxygen and eliminate carbon dioxide. They help to maintain precise acidity of the blood by modulating how much carbon dioxide we breathe out. And it turns out that, I've been doing some more reading and research into breathing, and it turns out that overbreathing is quite a big problem for a lot of people. And so we actually need a fair amount of CO2 to be healthy. So I'm sort of changing this on the fly a little bit because this is updated information, but we do want to be breathing regularly. We don't want it to be restricted. But also taking a whole bunch of big, deep breaths can breathe out too much CO2. So we just want to be sort of centered and actually mindful of our breathing, but actually focusing on the exhale and spending a couple extra seconds on the exhale longer than the inhale. So maybe 4 counts in and 6 counts out is actually a really beneficial practice. Other things that clog the lungs are air pollution, of course, smoking tobacco, as well as smoke from wildfires, eating foods that cause increased mucus production. This varies from person to person, but dairy and cane sugar are 2 of the most common culprits. And then we can help keep the lungs working well by mindful breathing. And, this might seem obvious, but many of us develop sort of harmful or challenging breathing patterns. And then having a daily meditative practice that includes focus on slow abdominal breathing can really help you to shift back into a rest and digest state and keep your lungs functioning well. And actually, when it comes right down to it, we can only detox effectively. The liver will only do its processing and elimination of toxins efficiently and well when we're in a rest and digest state. The liver and our bodies really have to prioritize, what tasks to be doing at any particular time. And detoxification is not, it's not gonna, it's a metabolically expensive process. So it takes a lot of energy and attention to do detoxification. It's gonna get sort of deprioritized if we are in a state of great anxiety at all times. So this using the breathing to shift into a rest and digest state actually will help the liver and the other body systems be able to do their detoxification and cleansing work more effectively.
So now I'm going to give you a little information about the skin. The skin is definitely another organ of elimination, and sweating is a major way to help eliminate waste and toxins. And if you're having skin outbreaks of any kind, it's very likely that the other organs of elimination are a little overwhelmed and the body is struggling to cope. The different organs of elimination will try to help. Oh, you're backed up. Let me take some of that work from you. So if you're seeing skin issues, then that's definitely a sign that you're probably needing to do some detoxification. So what can clog the skin would be insufficient exercise. You're not opening those pores and sweating. Chemicals in body care products, as we said before, and we will have that handout about ways to help get some of that stuff out of your lives. It has details on how to check on the safety of the products that you're using and choose safer alternatives. Petroleum-based body care products like Vaseline are especially clogging, and antiperspirant deodorants, not all deodorants, antiperspirant ones more specifically. So how can you help detox? How can you keep the skin detoxing? Sauna therapy is amazing. People have been doing sweating and sauna therapy for thousands of years, and sweating while relaxing allows for more detoxification. As Dr. Wood was just saying, when you're in that fight or flight state, your body is way too busy to detox since it's such a energy intensive or metabolically expensive process. When you're anxious, fight or flight, running around, your body's not going to detox. So sweating while relaxing, like laying in a sauna versus running a marathon, is going to actually allow for more detoxification. And both infrared and regular saunas are both great options. There's just tons of research on regular saunas. Infrared saunas are ideal, but any dry sauna therapy can be helpful. And we eliminate just so many different toxins via sweating. It's just a lovely option. We always recommend regular sauna therapy during a cleanse. So ideally 3 to 5 times per week for the duration of the cleanse, if you could. And nearing total health, they still have infrared saunas, right, Dr. Wood?
Yes, yes, they have a great sauna that can be booked by the half hour. Let's see, I'm seeing a question. Have you found a good sauna, good blanket that are low EMF and non-toxic vinyl? I assume you mean a sauna blanket.
Mhm.
Um, hmm,
There are so many out there. It
good
is
question. Yeah, I don't know that I have one that I can plug right now. There is uh one of those sauna sort of tents that zips up to your chin, and you sit on just like a plastic chair inside of it. And there's one of those that I like the company, and it has tested low in EMF. I will have to look it up though. I have it saved, but I can make a note to add that to the follow-up email. And let's see, what are some clean skin brands? Is Native a good brand? I do like Native, but this is where using one of those apps, I usually direct people to Skin Deep. I'm not familiar with Yucca, but that may be a very good option as well. I think that's a better option rather than, I don't think we can take the time to list a bunch of skincare brands right now, but the Skin Deep database has fantastic resources, and you can look up, what are all the lotions that are rated a 0 out of 10 for toxicity, or a 1 out of 10, and, choose one of those. Or if you're looking for a deodorant or face cream or et cetera, find great things there.
Skin Deep's
Uh,
the environmental working group, right?
yes, yeah,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
produced by the Environmental Working Group. It's
great.
a great system.
So
Uh,
good.
Yes, and so sauna blankets, yes. Yeah, so I don't have one off the top of my head that I know of as particularly fantastic, but I will send out the link for that sauna tent that I recommend. Okay, so next up is the lymphatic system. So this is a complex network of vessels that runs throughout the entire body and acts as an immune superhighway. So it's essentially a body-wide waste transport system. It's our immune system and waste transport system, sort of like the police routes combined with the trash collection routes. It cleans up things that aren't supposed to be there from all the spaces between your cells and the muscles and joints, etc. So it cleans up bacteria, viruses, precancerous or cancerous cells, chemicals, mold toxins, yeasts, etc. Lymph is a fluid that should be able to flow really smoothly and easily through these vessels, and it gets pumped along by the actions of our muscles and just the movement of our bodies. There are little valves, one-way valves in the vessels, so that, if the vessel gets squeezed by the muscle contracting and some of the fluid gets forced upward, then it can't flow back down. But it doesn't get pumped like our blood gets pumped by the heart. This lymphatic fluid can get thickened and clogged, and then it won't flow so well. So symptoms of clogged lymph include chronic swelling in the body that's not due to a heart condition. There are other things that can cause this, but puffiness, swelling oftentimes can accumulate in the ankles, but might be in the fingers, around the neck, etc. Swollen lymph nodes, breast pain. This is in part often a hormone imbalance, but there's usually a clogged lymph component as well. And then just achiness and pains in the body can be signs of this as well. The lymphatic system is clogged by lack of exercise, being sedentary, and dehydration are probably, two of the biggest ones, because you need to be fully hydrated for the lymphatic fluid to be liquid, otherwise it thickens. And then exposure to a lot of chemicals in the environment, all those things we're putting on our skin or breathing in, that all has to pass through the lymphatic system and can really clog it up. So besides exercise, other things that help move the lymph and that are very helpful, important things to lean into include hydration, as I mentioned, dry skin brushing, and I will link to a YouTube video on how to do that from our YouTube channel in the follow-up email. Rebounding, which is essentially bouncing on a trampoline, just especially helps sort of bounce that lymph further up the vessel so it keeps circulating. Castor oil packs, which we discussed in the liver section. This is really helpful here as well. And then lymphatic massage. And so there's traditional sort of a manual lymphatic massage that uses light touch following the lymphatic vessels. And then we offer an electrolymphatic therapy. And so this uses glass wands with gentle electromagnetic energy passing through them to help sort of vibrate the stuck, thickened lymph to thin it out and break it up. And then we use those same ones to just, pass along over the lymphatic vessels, which for the most part are right under the skin. And, we use it to use those electromagnetic forces to help push it in the direction that it should be going. So this is a therapy that's great for helping move toxins out of the tissues and into the liver for processing. And the technology allows for, using that the electromagnetic forces to penetrate a little bit deeper than dry skin brushing or traditional manual lymphatic therapy would. So that can help to affect the deeper, larger lymphatic vessels that are in the abdomen and around the intestines. Some really interesting things about this treatment are the machine actually provides some feedback on how congested the lymphatic system is, and which areas are most, so the areas that are most congested, the wand will kind of stick a little bit or have more drag passing over the skin, and then the wands will just slide really smoothly when there's little or no congestion. And our recommendation for how often to use this type of therapy really varies from person to person, but for an otherwise healthy person during a cleanse, doing 1 to 3 of these treatments would be a really great place to start.
Okay, so finally, we're going to talk about emotions just for a minute, and how that can actually be part of needing detoxification. So how does this work? Our emotions are actually a really important form of nervous system discharge, and so the nervous system can almost get clogged when you avoid feeling emotions. They can actually get stuck and stored in the body. There's whole books about how trauma can get stuck in the tissues in the body. And so, how can you keep this running smoothly? By being present with your emotions and allowing yourself to feel them until they naturally dissipate. It doesn't mean feeling them and clinging and just feeling it. It means feeling them, but then allowing them to move through. So there are a lot of different ways to help facilitate this if you have a harder time feeling your emotions, or if you feel like they're really stuck. Things like counseling, homeopathy can be really, really helpful in this case. Meditation can be helpful. Craniosacral can also be helpful. It's a gentle hands-on therapy that releases tension patterns in the body and helps reestablish the optimal flow of the cranial rhythm throughout the body. It's really lovely therapy that's very relaxing. These can be great additions if there's sort of an emotional congestion that needs help releasing. So we just wanted to add that on because it is an important piece. Oh, acupuncture. That's actually a great point. We adding that to the list. Of course, acupuncture is helpful in this case.
Yes.
Love that. Um, so we are running a little short on time. So maybe we should move on to the safety and efficacy part.
Yes, yeah, sounds great. So, when designing a cleanse for yourself, um, a lot of the things uh we're talking about are just basic healthy lifestyle. So, the things we've touched on so far are reducing exposure to toxins, making sure you're not constipated, avoiding uh avoiding things that can be clogging, such as alcohol, tobacco, coffee, sugar, processed foods, drinking plenty of filtered water, eating organic as much as possible, getting rest, getting sleep. So, those are all important foundations. Sweating, getting movement. If you're going to add in some products, that can be really helpful and can increase the impact. You just really want to be mindful of quality, as there are a lot of really not great products out there marketed for cleansing that are, contaminated, don't contain the herbs they say they contain, rancid fish oil, things like that. There's a lot of kind of rampant problems with poor quality supplements. So make sure you are using brands that are trusted. The brands we use, we put a lot of effort into researching those. And I know that Marlene's carries a lot of really great products as well and pays attention to quality. I just wouldn't be getting your supplements from for the most part, like places like Costco, Target, etc. They have lines of supplements that actually have been studied and shown to be pretty poor quality. So pay attention to quality. And
Amazon also has a lot of imposter supplements. Every day I get
absolutely,
reports about fake supplements, like name brands that are very trustworthy, but they're not the real brand on Amazon. So
don't buy your supplements on Amazon.
good.
Even if you recognize the brand and it says that it's sold by that brand, you can just create a store that looks like it's that brand. So yeah. Yeah, we don't want you to be, counteracting all the lovely things you're doing for your body by using poor quality supplements.
Yes.
Heidi,
So
back to you.
yes, we have. I have. I attached in the chat a collection of some of the products, some of the most common products we use for detoxification. We've touched on a few of them. Our detox tonic is a gentle herbal support. The complete body reset packs that Dr. Wood talked about easy earlier are some of our favorite, and they're really easy. It's we use that in our Revive cleanse, which is a 10-day intensive cleanse where you take a packet 3 times a day, and it includes nutrients to support all the different liver detoxification phases, as well as enzymes and fish oil and oregano's, anti-inflammatory, and also includes a diet and some support, lots of supportive videos. So if you're looking for a cleanse that gives you a lot of support, the Revive cleanse would be really helpful. You get a 15-minute consult and tons of online support. That's great. So I definitely suggest that if you're interested in doing something a little more structured where you have people around you to keep you on track.
Absolutely. And then I was just gonna, normally I would reiterate some of the things we talked about, but as we are running a little low on time, I think let's just wrap up. One thing that I hadn't touched on elsewhere was Epsom salt baths are fantastic detox home support. You want to use 3 to 4 cups of Epsom salts added to the water in your bath and soak for 20 to 30 minutes. Otherwise, the other kind of self-care things we already talked about in pretty great detail. So yeah, just consider, coffee enemas and colonics for gut support, dry skin brushing, movement, electrolymphatic therapy for lymphatic support, castor oil packs also for gut and lymphatic, craniosacral for nervous system, lymphatic, that's emotional support. And then if you are interested in doing a cleanse or trying some of these tools, we do have a discount off your first service for everyone who signed up for this class. So, feel free and take advantage of that. It's $20 off your session of anything booked in the next week. You don't have to actually come in the next week. It looks like we might get a lot of snow, so we'll see how that goes. But you have to schedule the appointment in the next week. And then 20% off supplements. The coupon code is CLEANLIFE24, CLEANLIFE 24, and that's all caps. And Heidi just put that in the chat. And then keep
email too.
Yeah, keep an eye out for the follow-up email. It might take us a couple days to get that to you, but that will be coming along shortly. And let's see. Yeah, a couple questions.
The one that says, how do you know if the supplements on Amazon are bad? The ones I get from there seem like the legit brand. And someone else says, if the bottle shows up sealed and an official major brand bottle, how could it be tampered? Never use Amazon for supplements. I'm not saying that there aren't some actual supplements that are the brands being sold on Amazon. It's just extremely hard to tell. Every day, for example, I could even send articles. Every day I get articles from people like Consumer Labs that are like, oh, look, another, round of supplements was sold as a Thorne supplement or a Genestra supplement or major brands where people make counterfeit money that works. People make counterfeit supplements that work.
Yeah. And, I made a whole video about this that's also on our YouTube channel. There are really good counterfeits. A colleague of mine works for one of the high quality supplement brands and has recognized, a really good fake. And the only way she knew it was a fake was because the number of capsules on the bottle is not a number of capsules that company has ever produced for that supplement. So people can make seals, they can seal bottles. So absolutely it's not all of them, but it's often enough that I just say buy it from somewhere else. Don't buy it from Amazon because it's too freeform for people to make their own store. And even, worst case scenario is it's totally counterfeit and who knows what's in it. Best case scenario or better would be someone has bought up hundreds or thousands of bottles of the supplement and stored it in a hot warehouse somewhere, and now your fish oil's rancid. So I just think, a supplement company that manages the, like takes better care of their products, stores them properly, is going to be a better, more consistent place. Let's see, what do you say for kidney patients regarding cleanses? Work with your doctor, be in contact with your doctor. This will really depend on what your kidney numbers look like. So yeah, I can't give a lot of detail on that. That would be definitely a work with your doctor situation. Um,
And will we send information on
yes.
coffee enemas?
Yeah, we'll send both a link to a video that is kind of walks you through the process and shows what the equipment looks like and all of that. And has a recipe for how to make the coffee. Yes, it is scary. I know it's so concerning to me that how often, and a lot of the supplement companies whose brands are being counterfeited have been, sending out reports of this as well. Like Now, it happened to Now brand recently. Yeah.
That's why you can trust Marlene's Market or Tummy Temple or
Right.
where they're getting it direct from the people. So
Yes. Yeah. Okay, I think that was all of the questions.
thank you, everyone. Thank you, Marlene's Market.
Yes. Oh, and the final thing is, we'll have a link in the email. If you do want to receive follow-up emails, we send out really great recipes. We send out articles. So if you're interested in that, please do click on that link in the email and sign yourself up. Thank you so much to Marlene's Market. We really appreciate you hosting these classes, and thank you everyone who attended. We appreciate all of you.
We'll have more classes coming this year, so hopefully we'll see you again.
Yes, sounds good.
Bye.
Okay, take care. Good night.